マー君からのプレゼント大事にするわね。
Number 20, Aromanga Sensei.
お前のイラストって超エロいよな。
Tsukasa Fushimi doing what he does best. Aromanga Sensei centers around the relationship between a brother and sister, although the protagonists are step-siblings this time around. Masamune is a light novel writer who learns that his younger sister, Sagiri, is Aromanga, the secret illustrator who works on his projects.
絶対負けるもんか。泉先生をあのやつに渡さない。
Masamune and Sagiri are not especially strong leads, but the show makes up for it with a decent secondary cast, with characters such as Elf and Megumi being particularly entertaining. As long as somebody knows what they're in for, Aromanga Sensei is the best kind of trash just waiting to be digested. Have fun.
これ見て。
おお、もしかして表紙イラストか？
Number 19, combatants will be dispatched.
6号、しっかりポイント稼げよ。
From the same author who blessed the world with Konosuba comes this. An anime that struggles to step out of the shadow of its predecessor, but refuses to skip out on the vulgarity. Agent 6 and the AI droid Alice are sent to take over a planet, a mission that naturally complicates itself almost immediately.
おっと、こいつが見えないのか？
すごいぞ、6号。
Its sense of humor is pretty much identical to Konosuba, although with a less memorable protagonist. Just go in expecting a silly show with fun minor characters and, for the most part, the antics of these two would-be villains should steal a laugh from you.
反抗するなら最後まで、裏切るなら真っ先にってね。
Number 18, Domestic Girlfriend.
お願いがあるんだけど、好きな人なんていないし。藤井君。
Natsuo has a thing for his teacher Hina, but also unknowingly slept with her sister Rui. Naturally, Natsuo's father gets married to Hina and Rui's mother, suddenly domesticating this love triangle.
藤井君。
先生、なんで？
Domestic Girlfriend is a roller coaster of bad decisions, immature people, and steamy sessions. Thus, we have our beautiful dumpster fire of an anime that ticks yet flips every trope in its genre. Whether regarded as a total train wreck or a memorable look into adolescent desire, this series can't be accused of being boring. It's damn entertaining.
初めてちゃんと名前で呼んでくれたね。
Number 17, Magical Senpai.
本日のメインディッシュ、密閉されたボックスからの脱出です。とくとご覧あれ。
A bit of magic never hurt anyone. A sketch show that tries to hit the sweet spot between comedy and ecchi, and for the most part does a pretty damn good job at it. A high school student winds up joining the magic club at the behest of the titular senpai, a decision that spawns a surprisingly great double act.
こんにちは。秘術の世界へようこそ。
Senpai's boundless enthusiasm and clumsiness bounce well off her assistant's straight man act. And the two leads are not the only likable characters in the show. It's an easy sit, especially with Senpai at the helm.
いやー、すごいスタチューだったよ。5万でどう？
こんなにくれるんですか？
それはダメなやつ。
Number 16, Queen's Blade.
Oh hell, I'll never admit to that.
Milady, stop, please.
Here's one you might want to avoid watching with your parents. Queen's Blade is an infamous show known for its risky content, especially for a long-running fantasy anime. Admittedly, most don't watch it for the plot, even as the anime makes a semi-decent attempt to do some world building while introducing the contestants for the upcoming tournament arc.
If they weren't so disgusting, I'd be fine with them. It's just that they're so icky.
Though we don't blame you if you don't actually get that far. Having a first episode that features a bunny demon shooting acid out of her bare chest while sounding like Amy Rose can be a tad off-putting.
Even though you've covered your face, I know who you are.
Number 15, Maru Tights.
もうどうでもよくなって水たまりばっかり選んで歩いてきたんだよ。まさかレイ以上のうっかりさんがいるとはね。
Look, you know what you're getting into here. Don't blame us. Maru Tights is beyond criticism in the sense that it delivers exactly what it promises. Nothing more and nothing less. Spread over 13 standalone short episodes, Maru Tights centers around 3 high school students who really love tights. They love wearing them, feeling them, and showing them off.
ちょっとレンやべ私。
A slice of life show in certain ways, this thing is shockingly well animated, whilst never overstaying its welcome. Put aside an hour and experience true culture.
私がゆえより目立っちゃうのが気の毒かと思っただけよ。はいはい、それじゃあ決まりね。
Number 14, Keijo.
Style combination attack! Triple assembled attack!
Come in expecting a shameless ecchi series about women battling for dominance using their posteriors, and leave having watched a delightful sports anime about women battling for dominance using their posteriors and the power of friendship.
Sorry, girlfriend.
Keijo creates a unique sport that seems tailor-made for fan service. While there is a fair amount of jiggling, the anime takes its premise and characters rather seriously. Dumb but fun, you'll be surprised just how much effort went into the designs of its busty brawls.
I promise this will all be over soon.
Number 13, Shimoneta.
何ですか？
ひらめいたわ。この方法なら PM に引っかからずに禁止単語を口にできる。
A boring world where the concept of dirty jokes doesn't exist. In this version of Japan, erotic humor and sexual behavior have been outlawed. While many people have come to accept this reality, others refuse to bow down without a fight.
昔の日本ならこういう技術を使って。
Shimoneta wholeheartedly embraces sexuality with every fiber of its being, blending raunchy gags with funny dialogue and gloriously over-the-top characters. For all its unapologetically ecchi influences, it does explore the genuine consequences of living in such a repressed and censored society, even if its focus is primarily on getting laughs. Just be warned that after watching, you won't be able to look at cookies the same way. Number 12, Chivalry of a Failed Knight.
だからここに誓います。僕の最強をもってあなたの最強を打ち破る。
Generic shows get a bad rep. There's nothing wrong with sticking to a tried and tested formula, permitted it's done well. This modern day hack and slash follows Iki, a failing student due to his poor affinity for magic. It's the classic underdog story, but the series shakes things up by making Iki competent, speeding up his growth, and throwing out a refreshingly mature romance.
無駄よ。私のエンプレスドレスに中断なんて効かない。
Iki and Stella's relationship serves as the story's beating heart, and the anime allows them to be a couple rather than a whole season teasing it.
それってステラも僕のこと。
Number 11, How Not to Summon a Demon Lord.
我が名はディアブロ。異世界の魔王だ。フリージア。
There are approximately a million isekai anime out there, most of which do not offer much outside of an overpowered protagonist, a generic fantasy RPG world, and maybe a harem. On the surface, Demon Lord is about as bog standard of an isekai as possible. However, it has a few things that set it apart. For one thing, Diablo very much struggles to keep up the charade of being an unflinching and terrifyingly evil monarch, leading to plenty of hilarious moments. The two main girls, Rem and Shira, are also allowed to shine as characters rather than just be vehicles for fanservice, even if Shira is responsible for most of the show's fanservice. We love you, Shira.
私はシェラエル・グリーンウッド。いろいろあって冒険者になろうと思ってるんだ。
Number 10, Peter Grill and the Philosopher's Time.
なんで耐えられなかったんだ。
After being crowned the world's strongest fighter, Peter Grill learns that such an honor doesn't come without a few surprises. This supposedly pure knight suddenly finds himself as the most desirable baby-making machine in the world, which proves to be a problem for a guy who's happily in love.
そこにいるのは先輩じゃないっすか。いいっすね。
バカだ。なぜこいつがここに?
As women of all races try to become intimately familiar with him, Grill fights bravely against their advances and his own libido, which she constantly fails at. This anime has very little in the way of story and opts to embrace its fanservice-heavy premise with reckless abandon. You can despise Grill all you want, but at least he's got the best orc girl out there. Number 9, Arifureta, from commonplace to world's strongest.
こうなったら魔物でも何でもいい。
As an adaptation, the Arifureta anime is rushed and disappointing. By itself, not a bad time. A bunch of students are sent into a fantasy world and given powers, with Hajime drawing the short straw. Before long, he almost gets killed by a classmate, falls in love with a vampire named Yui, and sets out to become strong. Ignoring the not-so-great CGI, Arifureta has a few big things going for it. It has just the right amount of edgelord enjoyment, its harem candidates are surprisingly top tier, and can you really go wrong with gun fu in a medieval fantasy?
相棒に名前をつけてやらないとな。そう、こいつの名はどんなだ。
Number 8, The Testament of Sister New Devil.
残念だけど諦めろ。なるべく早く終わらせるから。
What happens when a demon, a hero, and a succubus move in together? A whole lot of scenes that need to be censored. Our generic dude bro in this instance is Basara, a high school student from a hero clan who ends up with two not-so-little stepsisters who need some protection. Doubling down on the harem and action scenes, this ecchi-a-thon matches its unapologetically lewd scenes with frequent fights.
誰にも奪わせたくないなら、もう一度ちゃんと私を奪って。
While Basara and Mio are nothing special as leads, Maria has more than enough positivity to make up for both of them.
何の参考だよ。
義理の妹なんて調教以外に使い道ありますか？
なんだこの子は。
Number 7, Monster Musume. Everyday life with monster girls.
何をするか。私は馬ではない。
Monsters are real, and more importantly, monster waifus are real. Incompetence and common decency join forces to drop Kimihito neck deep in a harem that manages to be mostly wholesome despite the protagonist being constantly on the verge of bodily harm. A lewd comedy with a hint of romance, Monster Musume is not only funny, but it does a solid job of developing its world. The female characters are mostly well fleshed out, and the anime uses their unique backgrounds to determine their behavior. Though, how this man has yet to lose his V card is beyond us.
この足はなんというかその生めかしいと思う。
Number 6, High School of the Dead. Zombies, guns, and panty shots, this anime has it all. High School of the Dead is puzzling. On the one hand, the anime gleefully flings fanservice and gore at the screen like they are going out of fashion. Yet, on the other hand, it takes itself surprisingly seriously, especially earlier on, which feels a bit off when a character like Shizuka exists. High School of the Dead benefits immensely from being animated by Madhouse, making it one of the smoothest anime stamped with the ecchi descriptor. While the anime doesn't last long enough to fully dive into some of its themes, it's a fun ride that will make you long for a zombie apocalypse.
これだ。これなのだ。
Number 5, High School DD.
分かっているわ。でもね。
Plenty of ecchi anime have plots, but in this instance, that doesn't come without quotation marks. Issei Hyodo is an ordinary high school student with a strong libido and quite a lot of bad luck. Two things that combine to drive the protagonist to an early grave. After dying, Issei's luck finally begins to change as he's revived as a devil by Rias Gremory and joins her occult research club.
明野さんばかりずるいです。
子猫ちゃんいつの間に
Along with really not shying away from its harem and ecchi elements, Highschool DD is also a respectable battle anime. Just be prepared for a lot of whiplash as it switches from one to the other. Number 4, Prison School. Slot in a group of hormonally repressed guys into an all-girls school, along with a merciless school council and inbuilt prison system. What could possibly go wrong? Prison School is a delight in almost every conceivable way. As an ecchi series, the anime explores the sexualities and preferences of its characters in a much more compelling way compared to its contemporaries, while also not above going all out with a juvenile sense of humor.
しかしいくら検索しても出てこないのでござる。出てこないなら出せばいい。
Throw in a plot that combines love triangles, bodily harm, and a desperate prison break, and you've got yourself an anime experience you won't soon forget.
うまいぞ。
Number 3, do you love your mum and her 2-hit multi-target attacks?
勝手に見るなって邪魔俺をあだ名で呼ぶことが苦痛すぎる
Sometimes an isekai doesn't have to raise the bar. Some merely aspire to be a decent way to kill a bit of time. Okasan Online flips the script by sending a teenager and his mother into a fantasy game, with the parent being the overpowered one rather than the male lead.
おかあさん面接
While the premise lends itself to comedy, this virtual gaming romp isn't so much a parody of isekai as it is a standard show with a slight twist. What makes it enjoyable? Mamako, plain and simple. The prophet of the coming age of Milfsekai, she is everything we could ever want in life.
マー君からのプレゼント大事にするわね
Number 2, Oreimo.
キモなわけないでしょうわマジ引く
Yes, the one with the sister. Love it or hate it, Oreimo is the type of show that gets a reaction out of everyone. Kyosuke learns that his idolized younger sister is secretly a massive otaku, something she very much wants to keep under wraps. Kirino's tsundere routine and the eventual romance angle will make or break this anime for most people, but it does have plenty of straightforward positives.
察してよねって意味か
いちいち言うなバカ
The animation is generally pretty. The series depicts otaku culture more realistically than most shows. Kurono is great, and again, if you're all about that kind of relationship, then have it, I guess. Number 1, Interspecies Reviewers.
やはりエルフはみんな若くて綺麗で可愛くて最高だな。
What happens when a human, elf, and angel enter a brothel? Exactly what you think happens, along with a review. This glorious premise is so ridiculously straightforward that it almost comes across as a parody of ecchi, but the anime is far from a joke. Each episode focuses on a different establishment and the fantastical female monsters that come with it, leading to plenty of fan service and hijinks.
全員初顔のようだね うちの店は初回登録料が必須でね。
Along with pushing the envelope in terms of eroticism, Interspecies Reviewers shines because of how well defined its world is and the sensitive way it tackles its subject matter. We salute you.
いつもとは別人のようだが。
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.